Alright, what's up guys? This is Caleb Thomas. I'm back with another video. So today we're going to be talking about kind of my journey in starting the company we know as Daredevil Athletics today. So again, I'm the creative force behind Daredevil Athletics, and I'm going to kind of unlock some of the information for you guys on how I went from just a normal kid in college with an opportunity to somebody who started their own company and scaled it to a point where I can now produce content and share some of these tips with you guys. So these are the 7 tips I will share with you, starting with number 1, and that's going to be finding your passion. I've always wanted to do a clothing company related to fitness, right? And I did start another clothing company with my friend, and he ended up taking over that company, but he helped me at the same time start the company known as Daredevil. And this was just an idea I had, right? I wanted to get into the fashion gym wear industry, and I was just working one night, right? While I was on my year off of school, I was working this factory job. It was like 6 p.m. to 6 a.m. and I was just standing there at like 2 a.m. bored as hell, trying to just think about things. I said, what if we did something that was completely different, and that was beyond the ordinary, which then became the motto for the company I would later call Daredevil. So I said, what's stopping me right now from getting into this and like starting this brand right now? So the next day I went home. It was 6 a.m. I slept for a few hours, and then I immediately got on my computer and started researching, what were the steps needed to create an e-commerce business related to clothing. Not only just starting the website, but also making and producing my own clothing instead of just printing stuff. So there's a quote I love from Oprah Winfrey, and it says, "Passion is energy. Feel the power that comes from focusing on what excites you." So I use that energy of, what if I did start this company, to go home and start acting on it immediately. I use that passion to fuel the initial push, and I committed into the project. And once I started doing that, I kept building and snowballing that passion to a point where I could then scale the business and actually make a difference. Okay, step 2. Once you find your passion, you want to go into market research. So a lot of people skip this step and they just assume that their industry is one that's going to be successful, but that's not always the case. You need to understand not only what you're going to sell and how competitive the market is, but also your target audience and who you're trying to target with your ideal product. So I kind of initially misread this, and I assumed that, fitness could be something anybody could do, right? And while that is kind of true, it wasn't specific enough to where I could actually go ahead and make products for that ideal consumer. I was trying to target men and women, ages like 16 to like 45. So I was just making all types of products. I came out with like joggers, leggings, sports bras, cutoffs, like all of these products right away, and I kind of spread myself too thin. Instead of just picking a category of people I wanted to target and refining that into that purpose. So you need to be very critical about starting small and then later scaling up. All these companies, you see Nike just started as a shoe company. They were trying to target the footwear market of athletes that were in the younger competitive age. And then they scaled into lifestyle clothing, fitness apparel, workout gear, equipment, all this other stuff. So start with an ideal goal and a small target audience, and then grow that over time. Don't try to spread yourself too thin. Another thing you can do is you can actually go online, and I looked at a lot of companies similar to mine. So Under Armour, Nike, Gymshark, Adidas, Lululemon even, and just saw what these companies were doing. And then I researched behind the companies and how their founders started them. And the most important detail I look for is who they tried to target, how they advertised their company, and what types of products they originally sold. The more you know about your customers, the more you know about where to find others just like them. My tip on that is always try to target people that are most similar to you. And thankfully I had a product that I could do that with, right? So athletic clothing, I like to work out. I'm kind of in that age range that I wanted to target. So I could think, what would I like and what would all my friends like? And then I could start kind of working designs and blueprints off of that. All right, number 3, create a solid business plan. I didn't really have a plan, right? I kind of had the name, I had the motto and the idea, but I didn't really know how I was going to scale it, where my revenue goals were, where my costs were going to be, and all of that. Even if it's just on a simple sheet of printer paper, write it out and just have those numbers written down so you can like visually see it, or just create, a spreadsheet or a Google Doc and write out, what numbers, how much you want to sell, how much you want to spend on your apparel, things like that. Again, this isn't just for clothing, but it could be whatever product. And kind of an idea of how much you're going to spend on marketing, advertising. Remember, these are all little costs, but they do exist, so you need to kind of account for them. So 3 really good sources you can use for information are called SCORE, SCORE, B plans, and then SBA.gov, or Small Business Association. They all have like plans where you can actually use templates and you can fill in these information and create kind of a solid plan where you don't just have to kind of think of all these things on your own. It kind of has it written out for you. A good plan is like a roadmap, right? It shows the final destination and usually the best way to get there. All right, number 4, branding and differentiation. So in the clothing market, that's really hard because it's so oversaturated. But if you're not in clothing, or if you're trying to get into clothing, you can pick that sort of niche that separates you from others. You need to think of your brand as like an entity, as like a person. And this person has their own characteristics, their own personality and traits that sets them apart from other people. So just like yourself, what makes you different? Think about those key traits as if your brand was an actual person, and kind of write those down, like what makes my brand unique. And then you can start speaking, pushing out content and marketing like your brand was that type of person. That was how I thought about it, and that's what got me a lot of success. Branding is the art of becoming knowable, likable, and trustable. It's establishing a name, a household name for your company that has a reputation behind it. Okay, step 5, start lean and scale up. Again, I mentioned this before. Don't spread yourself too thin. Pick the one thing you're going to specialize in, because you can always scale up, but it's really hard to go back and scale initially. And I made that mistake. Again, I pushed out all these types of men's and women's products and all these different sizes, and I had so many products sitting where I had 10 of each shirt left, and I was just holding on to all these different products in inventory instead of just focusing on one product and then growing out from there. That goes into branding too. If somebody knows you as like a t-shirt company or a graphic tee company, let's say, then it's really easy to pair that with combos over time and release products that kind of complement that. You can upsell those products, and then people get excited for those things because they're like, oh, this t-shirt company's coming out with something new. I definitely have to try it and see what it's like. And then with each expansion, you can create hype, you can generate excitement and emotions related to the release. And that triggers people to buy and engage with your brand more, not only in the store, but on social media and just word of mouth. The lean startup method is a really good one that teaches you how to drive a startup, how to steer, when to turn, and even when to preserve. Okay, number 6, build a team and a network. So I never realized how important networking was until I started actually scaling my brand. I thought I could do everything on my own, right? From building a website to coming up with the designs for the products to measuring the sizes, to getting samples made, to marketing it, doing all the social media. It was a lot. And it's hard to accept when you are this entrepreneur that people are better than you. It's good to understand how to do these skills, and I think everyone should for a bit. You should do Photoshop, you should create social media content, you should design a website, you should learn these basic skills. But once you have the understanding and you kind of have the processes down, once you have that income coming in, to start hiring out other people to make these jobs easier so that you can focus on the bigger picture. So I picked 3 people, right, to create designs for t-shirts. And over time, I kind of narrowed that down to one designer that I could reliably trust to come up with really solid designs for my brand, and that I would respond quickly, I could access them, and that they would willing to go that extra step to make my brand stand apart. And once I had this elite team in all these different areas, I was able to trust the process, and it got easier to automate a lot of these tasks so that you can take that snowball and you can just roll it even faster. All right, number 7, marketing and social media. Now that you have your products down, how do you sell them? This is the biggest challenge for almost any entrepreneur. So social media was huge when I was growing Daredevil Athletics, and this kind of relied on my network too. I knew some models that I worked with, I knew some gyms, I knew some athletes, and I had to be proactive initially in DMing people on Instagram. I'd go out and I'd send them a message, hey, I really like your content, you're a good athlete, you'd be a great fit for our company. And then I had to kind of pay the price a little bit. I'd say, hey, we'll send you a free shirt and we'll pay the cost of it if you want to promote it on social media. And once you have that base following, you have 1,000 or a couple thousand followers, you can then rely on people to start working with you instead of you just giving them everything. Over time, people will want to work with you, and you don't have to put forward all the effort to go reaching out to them and paying the price for all this advertising. A lot of people want to be Nike athletes, so most athletes would be willing to post with Nike to get on their Instagram page for free. Nike doesn't have to go, make these insane deals to find this special athlete. They do it because they're a reputable brand and they want to keep these athletes coming back and be associated with them. But most of these people probably wouldn't even charge Nike. They just want the publicity that they get for being associated with them. So the 3 social medias I'd recommend are Facebook, or I guess Meta now, and all of its counterparts like Instagram, where you can pay for an Instagram or Facebook pixel to put ads on people's feeds. Also, you have TikTok and anything related to that, right? You have the Instagram Reels, you have YouTube Shorts, all of these things that are competing with this kind of short dopamine type video rushes you're getting. Third, you have Google or search engine optimization, where you can put your links in your store on these search platforms, where you can then, if somebody's searching for workout shorts, you can have that tag associated with your product, and then it gets pushed out as an advertisement on Google for anyone who's interested in these types of products to see. So those are the 3 big ones. There's also other things you can do, right? You can email market, you can just cold call people depending on your product, right? If you have maybe a larger revenue producing product. So having marketing campaigns are essential. And the important thing to note is not all marketing campaigns are going to work out for you. One time I ran a promotion saying, like, if you tag your friend in this post, you would get a discount code for like 20% off. Except I didn't really think about the logistics of how that was going to work. So I had a bunch of people tagging each other, and I had to go through and spend hours like sending out this specific code to people who were doing this and then checking that. It just took up so much time, and I was like, okay, I can't run this again. So the aim of marketing is to understand the customer so well, product or service fits them and sells itself. So you're putting your product in their eyes so that they understand how your product works and they get genuinely excited about buying it. The last thing I'm going to say with marketing is understand hype and how hype can be used to build your brand. Whenever I got my new shirt or whatever in from the manufacturer, I would just like push it out right away. I get pictures taken, immediately get it out into the store. Understand that if you take the time to generate content, push it out for a couple weeks and generate that hype, people are like, okay, when can I buy this? Like, is it available yet? And these questions kind of like convince people subconsciously, they want this product because they keep seeing it, but they can't actually have it yet. So then when it does come out, they'll go to your store and be way more interested and be able to convert into a sale a lot easier. So that's gonna be a wrap, guys. I'm gonna come out with more content related to this, how to start a specific clothing brand. Like I mentioned, we'll have a course coming out. Just challenges you might face as an entrepreneur and starting that company. Please like and subscribe, and I want you guys to remember that your journey might be different from mine, but the lessons are still going to remain the same. And that's what I hope this video targeted. So learn from my struggles and experiences and kind of carve your own path to your own success. Good luck. I'll see you in the next video.